Good morning, everyone, and welcome to uh, this stage, the carbon reduction and electrification stage, today's program. The first session is from 10 o'clock to 11:30, and we have a lot of presentations uh, under the topic of technological innovations. So, first, shall we start? We are ready with this. Okay. First, we have Mr. Abhishek Gupta. Uh, he's a senior energy sector professional with more than 25 years of experience. He has worked in power, energy efficiency, clean energy deployment, and infrastructure development. And he currently serves as the head of appliances and international at Energy Efficiency Services Limited. And he leads the national appliance efficiency programs. So I welcome Mr. Abhishek Gupta to present these initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very good morning to one and all. We know it's the fourth day of India Energy Week, and this happens to the first session of the day. So, naturally, the attendance is not that much what we expected. But naturally, I'm sure the kind of stuff I'm going to present here with you would definitely excite you. And we strongly believe that if we do the right steps together, we can make this kind of initiative at a large scale in the country. So I'm talking about something which is food. You just had your breakfast, but there are so many areas in India where breakfast concept itself is not there, just because of the fact that the level of affordability is something which is at premium at so many places in the country. So we thought let's have something which helps the last mile of the society to have right kind of solution which helps them do away with the recurring cost what normally they have to pay for any fuel for that matter. So we tried with the idea of clean cooking, and if you see the facts, even today we have got 600 million people who are actually cooking on the polluting fuels. This is actually the fact. So we should understand that whatever initiatives we have been taking, there is a long way ahead to go to cover 100% of the country. We also understand the kind of pollution which is there at the household level. Around 1 million people are actually dying prematurely every year in the country. This is a startling fact. So we know that there is something which we need to do to cover these two aspects about reducing the polluting fuels, about reducing the household pollution, and the kind of sorry time, effort, and energy which is lost in just gathering the basics of the fuel to do the two times cooking in the day is actually killing a lot of productive time for the family. And we also know the kind of impact it is making on the CO2 emissions at a national level. It's not that we are not working. We are working there since long time, and we have got multiplied, verified, and variable solutions. But the only issue which is at the core is about the recurring cost, and that is something which is killing the interest of going ahead with cleaner fuels including LPG, or for that matter even normal induction cook stoves. So we thought let's have something which gives a clear cut advantage as far as cooking is concerned, and we could see the kind of solution which we are proposing. It is going to save at least 2 tons of CO2 per day per household. It's huge. It's huge because of the fact that it is direct cutting off CO2 from the lives of the people, not at the global level, rather right at the household level. So we thought let's have something which is measurable, verifiable, and it is very much concentrated towards health, and it helps India to do the energy transition in future. Then we did some market survey and we tried to understand what are the specific things which are already available in the market, and that can be something which can be clubbed in this particular solution. we found that induction is something which is already available in the market. Just 1,500 rupees is something what you need to buy an induction cooker stove. Batteries, the revolution is on and it is going on at a fast pace. We know that if we have the right kind of battery solution available, which is anyway going to grow because of the so many EVs which are coming in the market. So this can be a right technology if I'm going ahead with lithium ion based technologies to be a reliable solution. And then we are already having our own PM Suryaghar, which is talking about solarization of the household. So we actually clubbed these three things and we could see that what is the kind of impact which is going to make at a household level. So we did a pilot actually in Varanasi and Uttarakhand, Varanasi and Hazaribagh, and we could do the monitoring for the 12 months period. And the results were actually very, very surprising. If you see the simplicity of the solution, here is the battery, just a 50H battery, here's the charge controller, and here is the induction. These all three devices can be put at any place of the house. It does not require any proximity because they are all electrically connected. And on top of it, if you have got solar panels which is available at the rooftop, then you don't need anything which is additional from the current PM Suryaghar scheme. So this is the schematic which we just did, and we could see that this kind of solution can be very handy because of the fact that you can cook at any point of time in a day, and you can also cook for at least 6 people in a household, 2 times a meal for a day. And it is also having the reserves of catering to the household requirement even if there is some cloudy or rainy weather. So this combination is at a sweet spot wherein you can actually just match the entire requirement. And even if you take the degradation of the batteries over a period of time, it will help you to have at least 5 years of life, because now the batteries are having 3000, 3500 up to 4000 cycles, so that can easily run for that much of time. So when we did this pilot, we did the baseline assessment as well. We tried to see what is the kind of consumption which is happening at the household level in terms of the woods, or for that matter any natural fuel which is available. And we could see the kind of energy which is being used depending on the efficiency of the system which they are actually currently using. We also took the time to understand what is the time which is being used by mostly women at the household level and girls to collect the fuels and do the basic cooking and cleaning activity at a household. And we could find that it is something which is very high as far as economic cost is concerned. So no cost which is direct and indirect which is attributable to the cooking itself is going to be significant, just because of the fact that the master of the house, who's the lady, is actually killing a lot of time doing unproductive work, and that can be changed through this kind of initiative. If you see the cost aspect, on face of it, it looks very high. And when we thought why is it so high, it was at least around 1 lakh rupees per setup, including the GST number. But when it did the breakup analysis, we could see that even current PM Suryaghar is costing you 50 to 60,000 rupees per kilowatt, and you are getting subsidies from the states up to 30 to 45,000 depending on the state which you are talking to, because currently the central government subsidy is 30,000 and some states are already giving 15,000 as additional subsidy per kilowatt to actually make it 45,000 per kilowatt. So the effective cost which is going to be there is not going to be more than 50,000. And that's where we find that if we can have some specific solutions coming from different kind of industries through collaboration, we can bring down this cost to even 70 to 80,000, reducing the total investment outgo from the people. And if you see the carbon credit potential, it is actually huge. We understand that this kind of initiative can address a lot of sustainable development goal related objectives, and then the value of the carbon credits which can be available in the market can be very significant from what is actually available. We also did some study on the time and income impact. So we could see that at least 5 to 10 hours a week can be saved by the women in the household, and that can, if that can be converted to the actual economic value, it is running to 8 to 12,000 rupees per year, which is significant at a village level. Naturally, there is direct impact on uh, indoor air pollution, and so is on the health. Water is something which was very critical here, we could understand, because the kind of water requirement which was because of the fact uh, of polluting fuel which they were using, that gets substantially reduced to up to 30% just by using this kind of technology, because you don't have to clean the vessel that much as you need to do with the carbon emission based technologies. Just see this number, sir. Probably this is one of the single initiatives which is going to cover more than 50% of sustainable development goals. It is cutting across 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 13, and 15. There you can add a few more as well, but these are the areas where this particular technology can impact you directly and help you bridge the gap of the goals what you are going to achieve in due course of time. We understand that PM Suryaghar is already there. It is just that this particular initiative can be attached with PM Suryaghar initiative, wherein already hybrid inverters are being allowed. And if I just put, instead of hybrid inverter, a charge controller and a battery along with induction, I'm done with the overall solution. So this can be an effective solution going forward for not only in the rural areas, rather semi-urban and urban areas, wherein cooking is still happening through not only through biomass based cooking, rather even LPG and PNG as well, because here it is 100% solar, there is no emission at all. Whatever emission or the forex loss which is happening, that can be done away through this kind of technology. uh, and we have seen that this kind of initiative has been championed by ESL. You might be knowing a lot of initiatives like Ujala, wherein we LEDification of the India as a nation was done through us. Then we did something related to smart metering. We are already doing 25 million smart meters in India. The story is 250 millions. You know the electric vehicle movement which we have brought. We are already doing PM e-bus scheme, wherein we are actually uh, asked to do deployment of 50,000 electric buses. So this is something which can be really big if we join hands with right kind of like-minded partners. So this is something again I am harping that we need collaborations to not only align with PM Suryaghar, rather the carbon aggregation can also be an important aspect, wherein the Article 6.2 can also be brought in and thought how can this be a mandatory thing for everybody to have, not as a voluntary thing, rather and a mandatory thing. That's all I had to say. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Abhishek. That was very interesting, and I believe solar cooking is already given a lot of push in India. So I welcome Mr. Puneet Gautam to make his presentation. Thank you.
Hello everyone, good morning. I think we are still in January, so I wish you a very happy new year as well. Today we are going to talk about a very interesting case study that I think which is one of the first case studies that world has seen, where the live, clean, 100% green hydrogen has been deployed to the to homes for domestic use, and that's something we are going to discuss, and how India can utilize the similar sort of approach in India. So I'll begin with by setting the context for today's discussion, that this presentation is particularly focuses on a hydrogen as a clean cooking fuel, drawing lessons from H100 level Mount project in Scotland, uh, where the hydrogen has been deployed safely in homes. More importantly, I'll connect those lessons to India climate and social priorities, and explore whether the hydrogen can play a meaningful role in the India's clean cooking transition. If I talk about India's prospect as of now, India's residential cooking sector today is overwhelmingly dependent upon the LPG side of things, and with 33 crores domestic LPG connections and a but smaller but growing PNG network as well. Here the challenges is with the LPG is that the global price volatility is the major challenge, and when you burn LPG, it emits the carbon dioxide, which is not going to support us in a longer run. India progress towards the net zero goals, clean cooking is no longer only a welfare topic, but it becomes a question of energy security, affordability, and decarbonization. To explore the alternatives, it is useful to look at the global pilots that have already moved beyond theory. H100 Level Mount project in Fife, Scotland is a world first 100% green hydrogen network for residential use, supplying hydrogen directly to homes for cooking and heating. The project serves 300 households using the hydrogen production locally via 500 megawatt electrolyzer powered by an offshore wind turbine. Hydrogen is distributed through a low pressure pipeline comparable to PNG system with hydrogen comparable boilers and cockpits installed at home. Here the key point we need to understand is that it's not only about the burners, it's always about the overall system integration, that how it's going to be deployed into safely into the home environments. ARUP acted as a technical delivery partner responsible for end-to-end system design and safety assurance for this project, uh, in, a, in collaboration with the Scottish Gas Network. Now I'll talk about the engineering approach of this project. And it is not about only the feasibility study. It's about the how the details that can be looked into every nook and corner, and how we can mitigate the risk around it, because it's associated with the higher risk of combustion power. The H100 project followed a structural three-stage engineering process. First, during the feasibility phase, we evaluated the renewable power availability, electrolyzer sizing, hydrogen storage needs, pipeline routing, and household demand profiles. The stage focuses on the answering a simple question: is this technically, economically, and spatially viable? The next, the front end engineering design phase, where we have looked into, translated the concept into a defined design basis, process diagrams, preliminary layouts, equipment specification, and the cost estimates. Safety risks were the systematically identified through hazard and HAZOP studies alongside early engagement with the regulators, which is very crucial at this stage because you are defining. Is it fine? Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Alongside the early engagement with the regulators that I was talking in my previous role, because defining the standards, as of now we are looking at the very conventional way of standards, but it is not applicable to the hydrogen because of its characteristics of low safety environments. So defining those is very important. And I think where comes the crucial part, when everything gets together along in the detailed design, where all the engineering disciplines were fully integrated, and advanced safety assessment ensured that hydrogen production, storage, and distribution could operate safely in the residential setting. Now I'll talk about the keynotes around these things. The outcomes of the H100 are very significant. From a technical standpoint, the project proved that renewable powered electrolysis and low powered hydrogen networks can reliably supply homes, which is a significant for us in a future fuel growth and future needs of these such fuels. From a climate perspective, direct coupling of offshore wind resulted in a material CO2 savings over a project life. Crucially, the project demonstrates that hydrogen can be deployed safely in residential environment, provided that safety is designed from the outset and the community are engaged very early. For India, the key message is that decentralized hydrogen systems are viable, but the pilots are essential to generate Indian-specific data on cost, safety, and consumer acceptance. If I talk about the path forward for this, where we can go from these things, and how India can do better what we have learned from the other part of the world. Based on these lessons, a phased approach is recommended for India. The first step could be a concept in the pre-feasibility study defining system boundaries and assessing interactions with the electricity, water, and existing fuels infrastructure. This step is crucial for aligning policy intent with technical reliability. Based on those outcomes, India can launch its first hydrogen heat zone, which is a concept sort of stage as of now. But India can really adopt from these things, because looking at its subcontinental type bifurcations. Such a pilot can be used to establish a national safety standards, appliance specifications, which is crucial in any household environment, and community engagement frameworks for regulatory environment also, while also supporting inclusion of hydrogen cooking with a phase 2 of National Hydrogen Green Mission. If I'll talk about strategic importance for such things for India, is that the hydrogen for cooking delivers a benefit that extends beyond the energy alone. It strengthens energy reliance by reducing LPG import, support climate leadership by showing the innovation at the household scale, and improve health and the gender outcomes by enabling smoke-free kitchens. At the same time, it acts as an innovation catalyst, simulating the domestic manufacturing of electrolyzers, pipelines, and appliances, where the positioning of India is strongly in the emerging global hydrogen ecosystem. To conclude my, our learning from this project, that green hydrogen domestic cooking presents a unique opportunity for India, combining clean energy access, economic resilience, and climate leadership. Global pilots like H100 shows that this is technically feasible, while India cost of solar power and wind power, as this existing LPG ecosystem and strong policy momentum create a unique scalability pathways for us. With the right pilot standards and regulatory framework, hydrogen cooking can become a practical and reliable solution across Indian cities, towns, and the rural environment. So this is something that what we have done and learned around us, and looking forward to support Indian companies and Indian ecosystem in this environment, that how hydrogen can be supported and be provided 100% green hydrogen to the Indian households. And it is very crucial to understand that despite of going at a country level, it should be developed at a community level, where the management could be very easy and the safety norms can be applied on a much lower level, in order to provide seamless integration of the power and the energy to the household environment. There are some data that we have associated with the LPG cost comparison in the system design, and it is truly illustrate that while community scale hydrogen for cooking can be costed very competitively due to lower purity requirements, low pressure distribution, and solar linked operational, when it compared to the industry hydrogen use cases where the requirement is entirely different. So there are two scenarios that we have to look into, and this is something very interesting to see that how the world goes forward and talk about these things and how hydrogen can evolve in these subcontinents. That's all from my side. Thank you for your patience and listening me. Thank you very much.
So Mr. Roshan Wathore has just joined us. His presentation is on scaling culturally compatible improved cook stoves, PFBAK, PAVAK to supplement PMUY. So Mr. Roshan Wathore is a scientist in the Environmental Resource Planning and Management vertical at CSIR-NEERI. He has worked with landmark cook stove intervention studies in rural areas of Africa and India, and his expertise includes cook stove performance evaluation in laboratory and real-world settings. So I welcome Mr. Roshan Wathore to make his presentation. Thank you.
Hello. Good morning, everyone, and apologies for being late. So I'm Roshan. I'm a scientist D currently in CSIR-NEERI, which is National Environmental Engineering Research Institute, and so we have been working with Glenmark Foundation, which is the CSR arm of Glenmark Pharma, to scale these culturally compatible improved cook stoves, which we believe can serve as the supplementary strategy for the PMUI in rural India. So the challenge before us currently is that if you go to if you go to the field sites currently in rural tribal religions, you will find that there are still a significant amount of people who are still dependent on solid fuel cooking, despite them having PMUI connections as well. And it is estimated that nearly one third of our population is still dependent on such cooking. And these traditional cooking leads to very high emissions, which leads to various health and climate impacts, especially to women and children who are who mostly stay in these environments. And then what we again see is that there is a lot of stacking, which means people, even though they have a LPG, since biomass is free, they still cook with, they still do some cooking or partial cooking or water heating with biomass, since it's freely available. And there are also various economic and cultural constraints to exclusive adoption of LPG. So to address this issue, we have come up with Power, which we believe is a culturally compatible improved cook stove. It can be easily made in these villages with locally available mud and concrete, as opposed to metal, which is commonly used for improved cook stove. We have designed it in such a way such that we want acceptance of these people, as well as it doesn't too much deviate from their traditional cooking practices, and we ensure that it is a communicable uh, community level fabrication and maintenance of this cook stove, so that like it is compatible as well. So the way we approach this is to a very scientific method, where we designed and optimized five cook stove design parameters, and then yeah, as you can see here, so it's basically various cook stove design parameters which we have optimized, and we have made these various cook stove designs and tested them, and given uh, arrived at an optimized version of cook stoves using modeling steady. So the PowerK actually adheres to the BIS norms as well, and we specially optimized it to give it high thermal efficiency as well as lower emissions, using using a method called the response surface methodology. So we had evaluated this performance of PowerK in lab as well, and the next step obviously is how the people perceive it. So we've also done field validation. So we have been also Glenmark Foundation. They work in uh, Khandwa and Nandurbar districts. These are very rural and tribal districts, which we have been seeing, where we have observed that LPG use currently is less than 10% in these households. And with the help of our NGO partners, Spandan in Khandwa and Yuva Mitra, we have been working with them to disseminate these power cook stoves. And then once they have gotten used to it, we go to the field and then we test these cook stoves as well. So this is the ISO partial capture methodology which we have used. It's a very recent method, and we are the first institute in the country which has adopt, adopted this method for the testing of cook stoves as well. So this is a partial capture method, and we derive emission factors for various pollutants from the carbon balance method. And this is the field results which we get. So we have done pilot trials in Khandwa and Nandurbar as well, and we get nearly 30 to 60% reductions in the various pollutant parameters. The main reductions which we usually focus on is CO and PM. So we have in Khandwa we are getting nearly 50% reductions in the PM concentrations. Even in Nandurbar we have like nearly 57% reductions in CO concentrations, and then we also measure elemental carbon and organic carbon, which is EC and OC, uh, since these are also climate relevant pollutants. And based on these measurements, we also estimated wood savings, which is nearly 600 kg uh, per year of wood savings, which can be potentially translated into carbon credits as well, which we are working on. And we also did a pilot scale user perception survey, wherein we asked them that how do you like the cook stove, and it was like it was pretty positive, and they said that user perception basically said that greater than 90% of these people, they perceived that it was very similar to taste, and even greater than 90% of the people, the majority of them, they acknowledged that they were seeing reduced emissions, which leads to reduced health symptoms, eye watering and coughing and so on. So that was very positive as well. uh, this is just the same graphs. These are box plots of the same table which I showed previously, so where we have been seeing reductions of. So the red one is traditional, and the blue one is our PowerK as well. So we have been seeing reductions in pretty much all the parameters as well. We also, in addition to this, we also conduct a lot of IAC, which is information, education and communication activities, and training of trainers to further promote the adoption of this cook stove. Uh, so we train the field staff, and they go to the field, and then they have a sort of community meeting, wherein we explain them the harmful effects of household air pollution and how power can help them reduce these harmful effects. So this has also been taken very positively by the community themselves, and we usually engage them in these activities and programs. Uh, so currently, we have over 15,000 disseminations of PAVAK in Khandwa and Nandurbar district. And based on these, and we are also collecting surveys and other on-field data to estimate how much is the environmental benefits, what is the social benefits, and what are the health benefits. In terms of acceptance, we have found them that they have really liking it, and whenever we go to the field, they actually ask that when will we get it. Currently, we have just giving it to limited people in the field, but then there's been an increasing interest of this cook stove as well. And based on this, we are aiming for another 50,000 disseminations by in the next 2 years as well. And the main thing is we want to, we are focusing on, completely moving away from traditional cooking, and at least, we want power to be at least the worst case scenario that, if you don't, if obviously LPG is the better and cleaner cooking option as well, but due to several issues of accessibility or them not using it, we would prefer them to at least use power until LPG becomes accessible and affordable to them. We're also working with carbon finance partner to explore carbon credits for power as well, which Glenmark Foundation, which Glenmark can use to further subsidize the dissemination cost. And we're also exploring other districts as well to disseminate this power. So we have a couple of publications as well. The first one is the field-based performance of PAVAK, which was published 2 years back. And then more recently, we published in Nature scientific reports. This was like 2 weeks back. And then this has also been recognized by the government, wherein we have been actively disseminating PAVAK as part of this as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Roshan. And next on our agenda, we have Mr. Vipul. He's talking on indoor solar cooking systems, a step towards clean cooking. And Mr. Vipul is a research manager in Indian Oil Corporation Limited. He is actively involved in advanced research on clean energy applications with a strong focus on driving innovation in the clean cooking domain. Vipul is currently looking after the development and deployment of Indian Oil's indoor solar cooktop, CSIR-NEERI. I welcome Mr. Vipul to make his presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Sabu. I hope I am audible to all of you. So my area of discussion today will be how we can utilize abundant solar power for our indoor cooking, and the result of our pilot study I'll share with all of you guys. So first of all, I just need to deliberate on what constitutes clean cooking. There is a general perception that like in mobility or a transportation, fuels derived from crude is considered as polluting, like petrol, diesel, MHSST, which we say. But in the case of cooking, one of the fuel derived from crude is considered as a clean cooking fuel, and that is LPG. So LPG being a fossil fuel, but according to the international guidelines or terminologies, it is considered as a clean source of cooking. And IOCL is already present in more than 50% of Indian kitchens through our brand Indian. So we know the Indian kitchen very well. And Dr. Abhishek, Mr. Abhishek has already talked about the Indian scenario of the cooking. And now I'll take you to the global level. So according to WHO, around 2.3 billion people across the world still lack clean cooking. And in this 2.3 billion population, 70% constitutes sub-Saharan African and 40% of South Asia, of which India is also a major contributor. And globally, cooking sector emissions constitutes around 3% of the global emissions. And this particular sector is also leading to a number of premature deaths, especially among women and children. And the number is very staggering. 3.2 million people die prematurely. And the women and the children bear the brunt of all this because in our society they are considered as responsible for cooking, and they have to arrange for the cooking fuels like firewood, cow dung, etc. And majority of us has gathered here. I think we have air traveled and gathered here. And now let's compare air travel with clean cooking. So according to the International Energy Agency, of which US is still a part, so the figures might be very relevant, air travel constitutes around 2.5% of greenhouse gas emissions, while cooking sector contributes 3%. You will be amazed to know that this clean cooking sector contributes more than 3% of the emissions. And according to the same agency, International Energy Agency, IEA, in order to make air travel net zero, we have to invest 175 billion US dollars annually till 2050 to make it net zero. Whereas cooking is concerned, it takes around 8 billion annually, and that too till 2030 only. So you can see the clean cooking has a very high carbon return to investment ratio. The humongous difference between both. But but the sad part is that clean cooking sector is still looking for this due share. Even India is not considering the cooking emission in its NDC goals. Although some estimates suggest that it is 13% of the total Indian emissions cooking sector contributes. And recently, the clean cooking has been excluded from Article 6.2 and 6.4 of the Paris Agreement. So it also dealt a major blow to the deployment of clean cooking technologies. So we have worked on solar energy, and we must have read in our childhood books that solar cooking can be used for cooking. Solar power can be used for cooking, like box tops, solar cooktops we were seeing in our childhood. But there were some gap areas are there. So we try to address those gap areas. These gap areas are like solar power. Until now, we were not able to use it for indoor cooking. Every time the user has to move that box outside, and she or he has to cook only in the daytime. And that too only boiling can happen. The temperature goes up to around 150, 200 degrees Celsius in the traditional box top cooktops. But now, with our technology, the temperature goes up to 500 degrees Celsius, and you can cook any of the Indian cuisine or foreign cuisine. So this is the product basically, indoor solar cooking system. It's a stationary rechargeable device. It will be in your kitchen like any LPG cookstoves, and it will function like a split AC kind of system. One part will be an outdoor unit, that will be the solar panels, and one part will be the indoor unit where on the platform which you can cook your food. So you can see in the extreme left corner, there are the panels. From the panels, a small or thin wire coming to our cookstoves, and this cookstove is storing solar energy in the form of thermal energy, and the user can access the thermal energy at any point of the time. So it is available in three models. One is a single burner, second is double burner hybrid model, and third one is a double burner with a storage model. As India is also a tropical country, so we have an abundant solar supply as the country is in Africa and Asia. And this solution gives a opportunity to harness that solar energy for cooking purposes. Also, as sir has already talked about, this product is a single deployment, covers around 9 sustainable development goals out of 17 sustainable development goals. And majorly Sustainable Development Goal 3, Sustainable Development Goal 5, and 13, which affects women disproportionately. These are some of the features of the product. It is a clean and an efficient product. It can cook your food without any carbon emissions. Second, it has the option of round-the-clock operations. It can cook your food in after sunset as well, because it stores the solar energy in the form of thermal energy. As we Indians are very fond of variety of cuisine, so as the temperature goes up to 500 degrees Celsius, so any of the Indian cuisine can be easily cooked on this. Health and environmental friendly, this product has already been in deployment phase, and we have deployed around 1500 units of this product. But before the deployment, we have done the pilot trial for the 2 long years across different geographic regions of the India, ranging from Leh in the northern India, where abundant sunshine is available, capital region of Delhi, where the sunlight is very scattered due to high pollution, high AQI, which we all are listening for a while. Arid regions of India, Udaipur, Rajasthan, central part of India, and the southern coast of India. We have a long coastline. So Lakshadweep was chosen for the pilot study. And the pilot trial was very encouraging. The users are still using the product. It has been around 3 years since we have deployed this product to the pilot scale. So the results of the pilot studies are in front of you. Most of the users are cooking more than 1 or 2 times on this particular product. And the variety of cuisine can be cooked. Like if you see in Ladakh, Leh, they eat thupka. With Delhi NCR, people love deep frying products, and all those things can be easily cooked on this. So based on these pilot studies, we have empaneled some of the manufacturers across geographic of India to manufacture the product, provide the after sales services, and in order to, you can say, empower the particular user who are using the product. So after these pilots, we have deployed around, now this number has gone to 1500. So we have deployed around 1500 units along with our vendors and EKI Energy Services Limited. And majority of the deployment is happening across Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka, even in northern eastern Assam is also one of the major deployment places. So with these deployments, we have developed 4 model villages where the households which were using traditional cow dung or firewood for cooking, now they have shifted to this solar cooking system. And they are very, happily using the product. The women are saving their time. The pollution is not there. So I just want to play one small testimony video of the users. I hope sound is not there, but you can read subtitles. Sound was not available at the time. Even they get the platforms to cook also.
पहले टाइम तो हमको ऐसा लग्यो इनमें कैसे बनाना कैसे नहीं पर जो बनाने लग गया था हम आगे नहीं लगाता
जब धूप आएगा तो ज़रा ज़्यादा सब्जी उगाते हैं फिर दाल फिर अंडा कभी कभी गर्म पानी करते हैं.
So the key takeaways till now that the users have a little bit behavioral issue. They want flame to be seen while cooking. So this is one of the major drawback, major impediment in the penetration of e-cooking also, because the user wants flame. He wants to see the product. He wants to see the flame for cooking. So in order to apprehend this thing, we have organized regular workshops, have the interaction with the users also, so that they keep on using the product. This product can fulfill the cooking requirement which you have already seen. And based on the feedback of the pilot study and the deployment, now we have reduced the size of the product as well. The size of the product has been reduced by 60% and the weight has been reduced by 30%. Now, some more awareness needs to be raised in order to give the product a household name. So it's the responsibility is on us to make the clean cooking a household name. Like as an Indian Oil, our earlier generations has worked hard in the successful implementation of LPG, because earlier people used to consider it also as a red bomb because of the red color of the cylinder. So now we all stakeholders, investors, and the philanthropic organizations have come forward to make this product a success. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Vakul. Next, we have on innovative generation of biogas with the use of upflow anaerobic systems in septic tanks during disasters for clean cooking. And our speaker is Mr. R.S. Prasad, who is General Manager with Engineers India Limited and has 29 years of experience working in construction management and has worked all over the country. He has worked on several projects of oil and gas, nuclear pipelines, airports, municipal and thermal captive power plants, etc. So I welcome Mr. Prasad to make his presentation. Thank you.
Good morning, one and all. Thank you for inviting for such a big platform on energy. My fellow speakers have already set the orientation and the requirements for clean cooking. Now I will place another dimension of clean cooking. Yeah, actually, why I have taken this as a problem, and then another aspect of using biomass for clean cooking is the objective of the session, and then results with recommendations. Conventionally, in our country, we are facing many natural disasters, and during the disasters restoration and development works, food and basic amenities are needs to be provided at the earliest. As we can see recently in America, now with intense snowfall in various parts of America, people are disturbed for bringing their amenities and as well as for daily needs. So we need to have some solutions sitting inside the house for food and others. The next other aspect is that India is a religious country where large number of people visit religious shrines, and many of them are not access due to a clean food because of shortage of resources. And considering this solution, because I believe that science works for humanity and food being the basic necessity of life, we should think of the possible solution to provide the food. As you can see here, this is a conventional septic tank which is being adopted in almost all households. So the only addition which we have made in this septic tank is that we've created a small baffle here and then an inverted funnel which is made up of fiber reinforced plastic. Now what will happen when in septic tanks conventionally the biogas is generated in a fluidized way, and also it takes long retention time of 36 to 48 hours. Now when the molecule, when the biogas molecule is developed, that biogas molecule slowly goes up, and then when it touches the funnel, the biogas will go up and the solid particle will come down and the liquid particle will go in the trough that is created over the buffel. So this funnel acts like a gas liquid solid separator. This is called as gas liquid solid separator. So with addition of this GLSS, what is happening is the solid particles are getting accumulated here, and the biomass which is present in the sludge bed are getting attracted to each other, and they are turned into granules. Once they turn into granules, the methane generation ratio is getting improved to such an extent that less than 6 hours the biogas is being generated. The biogas is generated here. So we are not making any big additions here. This is the conventional septic tank which is being used in almost all households. We are just adding one GLSS funnel, and that is also very cheap because it is fiber reinforced plastic, and we are creating a baffle here. That's all. Only with these two modifications in the septic tank, the biogas which used to generate in 36 hours is now getting generated in just less than 6 hours. This is the way where we can use our own septic tank, which is being used in the very common way, and being the H2S present in the biogas is less in content, it can be directly used for cooking in the houses, because in ancient days we used to have biogas digesters for a common household communities, and we were using the biogas. Now in individual house itself we can use this model, and then we can use the biogas directly for cooking. The results are that we have tested this at 3 different septic tanks with different organic loadings, like 5 to 10, and then 50 to 4.5, and 15, etc. And the COD removal efficiencies were found in the range of 75 to 80, 92, and 90-95. Particularly when we added some vegetable slurry, then the granule formulation of biomass got increased significantly, and continuous generation of biogas was being observed. So this is definitely an innovative model which can be used for clean cooking. And this arrangement is particularly, say for example, in American countries where now snow is the biggest disaster for them, so they don't need to go for gas or electricity. They can use the biogas generated in the house itself and can use for the domestic needs. That is the biggest advantage of this. You don't need to create any big reactor, or you don't need to you don't need to give any additional apparatus, etc. The conclusion is that the produced biogas can be directly used for clean cooking without any treatment. The additional cost for FRP is, if you convert in Indian rupees, it will be around 50,000 to 60,000 rupees max. And the biogas generation starts in less than 6 hours. The additional is that you can keep a separate biogas tank. So our recommendation is that the UASB based septic tank, upflow anaerobic sludge blanket based septic tanks, should be adopted in villages which are prone to disasters like floods, cyclones, etc. And this use of biogas for cooking from septic tanks is a clean energy process and should be encouraged. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Okay, that was a very interesting presentation. Next on our list, we have Mr. Qasim Anwar, Deputy GM NTPC. He is making a presentation on clean cooking via microfinance and carbon credits. Mr. Anwar is working with NTPC and has over 18 years of experience in project finance, treasury management, regulatory compliance, and strategic financial planning. I invite Mr. Anwar for his presentation. Thank you.
Good morning to all the panelists. So today I'm delighted to share with you my hybrid financing model integrating within carbon credit within micro loans to accelerate the clean cooking in the rural India. So the concept is very simple and clear, that we provide a simple micro loans to the rural women and create a new source of income for them. So first of all, let us understand the crisis scale of the crisis. In rural India, more than 300 million households still cook on the wood, dung and crop residual. And this costs 3.2 million premature deaths every year from the indoor air pollution. and half of the million of them from India itself, women and children. 80% of the rural women report respiratory symptoms, and PM 2.5s are routinely 10 to 20 times of the WHO limits. Women spend 3 to 7 hours every day for collecting the fuel, the time they can use for education or for income generation. So we have, the government of India have a flagship program, Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana, and they have distributed hundred of the millions of the LPG connections since 2016 onwards. Yet the sustainable usage remains only 60% around, and in rural low income group it is 60% only because of the refill cost and the cultural barrier. So clearly, subsidy alone is not only the solution. We need a financially sustainable solution for this. So the core idea is a hybrid financing. Our innovation is simple but powerful. We combine two existing tools that had never been linked at this scale before. We gave household micro loan through the existing self-help groups, and we use the verified carbon credit to pay back the 40 to 50% of that loan automatically. The more carbon saved, the more money flow back, and lower the repayment, higher sustained use, and almost no default. This turns the clean cooking from the charity burden into an income generating asset for the households and the SSGs. Our project targeted 5,000 low-income households in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar area whose earning was less than 10,000 per month, and we deployed three basic technology for that. We provide the improved biomass stoves, biodigester, and LPG connection with the induction stoves. Each technology offered a unique benefit, biogas being the most sustainable due to the free fuel. So the core innovation was a hybrid finance, combining the micro loan with the carbon credit revenue. Loans range 5,000 to 20,000 only at the rate of 8 to 10% over the 12 to 18 months. Carbon credit earned was from the verified emission reductions, offset the repayment, track the transparency via the blockchain. And this linked financial incentive to the environmental outcomes also. So our methodology was very robust. We used baseline and endline survey of 1,000 households, continuous IoT monitoring on 500 units, pre and post spirometry lung function test, and 200 women-only focus group. Full financial audit of the SSG ledgers, and all the statistical analysis was done with the logistic regression and over in Python. Ethical clearance and informed consent was obtained from them. So the result was remarkable. After 18 months, we achieved 70% of full adaptation. That is 3,500 household cooking cleanly every day. In a controlled villages, without the carbon link finance, adaptation stayed at only 25%. So our model delivered 180% improvement, and biogas unit showed the highest sustained use at 85% because of the fuel, because become free after the installation, while LPG sustained at 60%. So most importantly, the loan default fell from the 20% to just 8% thanks to the carbon credit revenue. For climate and financial impact, each household reduced emission by 2.5 tons carbon dioxide equivalent annually, generating $20 to $30 in carbon credit revenue, covering 45% of the loan cost. And this is a real money which stay in the village economy while contributing to the India's net zero 2070 journey. So the health improvement was dramatical and measurable. Indoor air pollution exposure dropped by 65%, and women reported 50% fewer respiratory symptoms, whether it is a cough, asthma, or breathlessness. Objective submetric showed the 30% average improvement in the lung functions, and daily time saving is 1.5 hours, and 20% of the women start or expanding the income generating activities from it. In Bihar, we recorded 40% less musculoskeletal pain from the fuel collection, and in Uttar Pradesh, LPG users showed the 25% lower hypertension risk. When I'm saying all these numbers, these are not just a number, these are the mothers and daughters getting a fresh breathing easier and living longer over there. So the point is why this model is important and different. Traditionally, subsidiary program achieve 60% sustained use and remain fully dependent on government budgets. So our hybrid model delivered 70 to 80% sustained use, cut the default by 60%, that create ownership and is financially self-reinforcement through the carbon market. That is why it is ready to scale without the continuous financial support from the government itself. So it is a combination of microfinance, carbon credit, and community empowerment to achieve the sustainable development at scale. So key takeaways are one sentence summarize everything. When you make clean cooking financially rewarding for the user, its adaptation, its health, and climate benefit all flows automatically. 180% higher adaptation and half the respiratory disease burden for the woman, and 1.5 hours a day return to them, all while the carbon market pays nearly half of their bills. So our recommendation is very simple. There are four major recommendations. One is policy related. That is, we integrate the carbon credit with the Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana refill subsidy. Second is provide a one-time 500 rupees per unit subsidy for the IoT monitoring device. Third most is partner with NABARD to roll out through the 100 million existing self-help groups. And if we scale this at the higher level, in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar itself, we can reduce 1 lakh ton of the carbon dioxide annually, and 100 of the women can start breathing clean air. And it is a replicable, financially sustainable model for India's net zero 2070 journey and the SDG 5, 7, and 13. This is all for my part. Thank you so much. Let's make the rural woman empower again. Thank you.
So thank you very much. I look forward to seeing all these initiatives commercialized and being out there to the benefit of the people. Thank you.